welcome back to the channel. We're Dos Cavazos, and today we are watching the 5th episode of Season 2 of Castlevania.
So last episode, we saw Dracula throw something through a mirror.
It looked like a cloak of some sort.
Yeah, a cloak. And it's interesting because his mirror kind of, I guess, is a transportation type mirror.
Yeah.
Whereas Trevor has a mirror, a broken mirror in his home that allows him to see different things. So.
Yeah, he mentioned, well, Alucard mentioned that there's like some scriptures that may have been like damaged, but that makes me wonder if they're going to be able to repair that and maybe use that mirror to kind of spy on Dracula and his army. We also lost Godsbrand in the last episode, and I personally feel like, you know, this information that there's like a coup trying to be attempted by Carmilla is happening is going to get reiterated back to Dracula, and I don't know what he's going to do. It really seemed as though they made a critical mistake in trying to, I guess, flip Isaac, whereas, you know, we thought Hector had some dissension in his voice and like the way he approached things, but Isaac is loyal to the bone.
Hey, it's Casey here. We just wanted to stop and take a quick moment to thank the sponsor of this video, Bokksu. Bokksu is a snack subscription that delivers authentic Japanese snacks, candies, and teas all the way from Japan to your front door. And Bokksu makes such a perfect and memorable gift for anyone in your life who appreciates Japanese snacks and culture, especially during a time where people aren't able to travel as easily as they would like. And actually, not only would you be gifting them Bokksu, which is already awesome, but also you would technically be gifting them the chance to win free tickets to Japan because Bokksu is having a giveaway! They will be picking 5 lucky winners to win a free set of tickets, and anyone who is subscribed before December 31st is automatically entered. I'll include a link in our description so you can check out the terms and conditions and other methods of entry. Okay, now back to the video. What's the point of those spikes?
Is that Godsbrand's remains?
Oh.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Assemble at Brayla. Await the word. My work here is almost done.
Is she using Dracula's, or should she have her own mirror? She has her own.
How hard can it be to find Godbrand of all people?
Well, he's floating away in the wind, so... I don't know why this encounter seems funny to me. What's he? Why is he going?
I feel like it's the tones too.
He keeps getting close.
But coming from an oral memory-based culture, you're very good with books.
It would have been a poor education if we hadn't been taught to read things to add to our memory stores. But I am coming to the conclusion that my people are idiots.
For not
we should
writing
have written
things.
everything down. I do have questions about Trevor's ancestors. I discovered an entire box of spells about penises.
What? Spells about penises?
What does that even mean?
Like to curse other people's penises? To help other people's penises? What are we doing here?
I had entirely different books under my childhood bed. My father was a polymath, my mother was a doctor, and I grew up very fast.
What does that mean?
I'm being literal. I aged very quickly.
Oh, like for real?
Perhaps you're just an angry teenager in an adult's
You can spend so long in a castle that you can forget how the sun feels.
There's something so like innocent about Hector to me. I don't know.
I like the castle. The stone stays cool no matter where we are.
You like the cold?
I'm cold, I can eat meat or throw a cloak on.
What?
I spent my whole life in hot places. You can't escape heat.
I mean, that's true. When it's cold, you could always put on layers, but when it's hot, there's only so much you could take off.
Animals don't act with malice.
Cats play with their food all the time.
True. But it's not malicious. There's joy in it.
Not for the food.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, that was pretty deep there. Just a small analogy.
The cats need herding, Isaac.
That's a good way to get your eyes clawed out, Hector.
Is he gonna talk about Carmilla?
Dracula gave us the task of creating a war plan. But between his generals and their fighting, and his own attitude...
Don't talk shit about Dracula to him.
He cares very much. He wants all of the humans to die. He's quite clear on that.
That sounded funny.
I want you to agree to move on, Brayla.
He's working with Carmilla.
I know that, strictly speaking, we've never really been friends. All Dracula hears is the noise in the war hall. He needs us to be the clear voice over that noise. He needs us to speak in one voice.
He needs us to be loyal.
How is it disloyal to provide the guidance he requested of us?
If it's serving you and not him. There are people in the court who have their own plans, their own agendas.
Is he gonna bring up Godsbrand to him, maybe? I don't feel like he will.
It will please Camilla, so I distrust it. It would stop her from making mischief for the moment, and it would get the war room pointed in the same direction.
So, hey, the pug, is he just not gonna tell anyone?
There's betrayal abroad in the court, but Hector is a simpler creature than that. He just doesn't like the arguing.
So the generals are going to betray me?
No. If anyone actually approached the verge of that, they would be taken care of without you ever finding out about it, my lord.
I mean, like, it just happened.
So, if I let them go to Brayla, they'll stop scheming and whining.
I think so. It will give Camilla some power, but that's not a bad thing.
Strategic power.
There was a time that I would relish the details. There was a time. A time when the smallest details of death delighted me. Setting fires in a town, knowing that the merchantmen would send their wives and children out.
My gosh.
Oh gosh, and then he would feed, right?
I'm assuming,
Maybe.
Yeah.
Ooh. Ugh. We haven't seen him really in action, like. Ugh.
Letting them feed.
Okay. So is that how you became like what you are
But
now?
like, was he just like chilling when Lisa rolled up on him?
Right.
Or did he take out the women after? Because it almost sounded like there was going to be a butt after that, right?
Right. Well, because it seemed like he took out the ones he needed to, but...
Those times are long gone. Let us just conclude this thing.
We would ask you to consider moving the castle to Brayla to conduct a full-scale
Like,
destructive attack on the port.
Brayla, fine. Brayla it is. I no longer have the strength for these petty decisions.
Thank you. A great victory awaits.
Yes, yes.
She's probably like, oh, that was easier than I...
I wonder when, like, it seems like, you know, he's going to get more involved at some point, right? Because it almost seems like he's still grieving Lisa, right?
Yeah, I
like
think,
he's just
he
depressed.
definitely is.
Dracula, until this is done.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So long as they all die.
Because that's all he cares about. Probably don't even care about himself anymore at this point.
Well, that's what kind of what Godsbrand was saying, that, like, he's just going to take out the humans and not have any regard for the vampires.
I thought you wanted me to believe you respected me.
I
Nope,
did.
she was using you.
Now you're implicated, so I don't need to. You're hip deep in this
Yikes.
now, puppy, and the only way out is forward.
She needs to go.
Should never have trusted her.
Yeah, I never did.
I never did either.
It's kind of an interesting situation there that's going on, because obviously we want Trevor, Alucard, and Cypher to win, but like it's weird to see like the discord between them all.
But I also
right
don't want them to just kill Dracula either. Is that
Yeah, it's kind of weird
I don't
for
want
me
him to
too.
just like
like,
get killed. Maybe he needs to be reunited with his son.
What'd you find?
Oh, this is Trevor!
What?
I have something! Your family have an entire literature here about the castle. They tried for centuries to eliminate its main advantage. It transports itself through magical means.
Okay.
Okay, so you're getting more information about it.
Because it teleports?
So some clever Belmont eventually formulated most of a locking spell.
To like lock it down?
Catch the castle and lock it down to a single location so that it can be invaded.
Do you know anything about this, Alucard?
I can finish the final clauses of it myself. It's all based on Adamical structures. Adamic is the original human language. The one spoken by Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The one that was split into all other languages at the Tower of Babel by God. The speakers are the enemy of God. We live in cooperation and hide our stories inside ourselves so he cannot strike them down in jealousy.
What?
What? I didn't understand that.
They're the enemy of God,
I was
the
like,
speakers?
that seemed very aggressive.
God hates me.
And maybe it just goes to show like how getting passed down verbally is maybe not like...
There's Hector's Creatures of the Night.
Yeah, you know Hector and his undead pugs.
He just sent an army of undead pugs.
Isaac also did not reveal that he killed Godbrand. That makes me wonder, is everyone just gonna assume he like went missing and just never question it again?
Maybe. You know, he made a quick reference, Isaac, to Dracula in this episode, saying that if somebody were not loyal to you, it'd be taken care of and you won't have to worry about it. So, kind of like assuming like that's why he didn't tell Dracula, because they're just going to put more shit on his plate, and that Isaac thinks that he could handle a situation if somebody was unloyal. That being said, Hector seems like he's a little bit in a bit of a pickle. He seems like he kind of has to go down this path with Carmilla. I mean, I kind of like I really do like Hector, and I don't like Carmilla right now. But it's an interesting situation. I mentioned it during this episode too, because I kind of find myself picking sides in like what's going on with Dracula's castle, and I kind of side with Dracula as opposed to Carmilla, because I mean that's the real big divide it seems though right now. But in saying that, I know like we're rooting for Trevor and Alucard and Sypha, but like what you said, I don't want Dracula to necessarily die
I don't want him to just get killed either. I want them to like come back together and like Alucard and Dracula to like, you know, be a family again.
I don't think that's gonna happen. Yeah.
Together and cry in their arms.
I do want to see like a pretty deep story with them, and I feel like it's a matter of time before Dracula gets more involved in this plot, because he's going through his depression, he's going through the grief of losing Lisa, and he's just kind of like disassociated himself from like the actual plan. He made references to like being able to take joy in it back in the day, but now he's just really sad, and like I mean that's what I'm getting from it, and that he just wants this to just be done. He just wants everyone who wronged him, which pretty much in this situation, it's like the human race for having killed Lisa and like killed somebody that he loves, so he's just taking it out on everyone now at this point. So at some point he's going to get more involved. He has to. And like I don't know what that's necessarily going to mean. I don't know if he's, because it seems as though even though Carmilla thinks that, you know, she's like hot shit right now and that like she's calling the shots, she's really not. And Isaac and Dracula, I feel like could take her out at it. I don't know, not necessarily Isaac. I don't really know how that would go. I thought he would be able to take out Godsbrand, and he obviously did. I don't know if he could necessarily take out Carmilla, but I know definitely, damn well sure Dracula can. Maybe even in his weakened state. I imagine that he still could. And like they're vastly underestimating his power. And we didn't really get any other reference to like, you know, the scene we talked about before this episode with like throwing the cloak through the mirror. But we also found out Carmilla has one of those mirrors. But I don't know, I feel like it's just a one of the ones that you could see through things, because even when Alucard mentioned it in the previous episode, he said that yours is just strictly viewing, but I wonder if you could have that communication, because she was definitely talking to somebody there. So I wonder if they fix his mirror, they could talk as well to somebody, but obviously Dracula can, you know, move things through it. That being said though, it seems as though Hector's Creatures of the Night showed up here, so it looks like we're actually gonna have to get our hands dirty.
Alright, well thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you can stay notified for our future videos.
Also head over to our Patreon if you want to watch our full-length reaction to this series. We upload them over there, the link's down in the description below.
Okay, we'll see you next time.
Bye everyone.